What is more?
Hello there and welcome to the 5th of 6 special programmes marking 50 years of Channel Television. This time, Channel 50 looks at entertainment, those moments and events that hopefully have put a smile on your face over the past half-century. Earlier this year, we asked you to vote for your favourite 5. Tonight, we reveal that countdown. Here's a taste of things to come.
So let's get straight on with the action, starting with, from Blitzer's Disco in Jersey, Jimmy McMahon.
So, 22-year-old Jimmy McMahon from Glasgow is first on. He's a regular at Bloopers in Jersey and is bidding to go one better than last year when he was runner-up in the Channel final.
Doing very well indeed, 94,468. Now we can do better though.
100,000 barrier.
Wow, we've done it! Yes! 100,000 pounds!
And so the teenagers moved in, discarding their shoes, partners separating. The ballroom became a clearing place in the jungle. We had reached the real age of primitive dancing.
I can feel it.
Carol and Joan have chosen to start with the same models in different colours. The pants, by the way, whether they're from the junior department or from the adults, cost under £3.
Apart from the occupation of the war years, cars have never been allowed in Sark. When the film crew said they needed one for tracking shots, the request was duly considered and the island authorities gave their consent, but only if the engine was disconnected, so it became a 1-horsepower deux chevaux.
Alderney's population barely exceeds 1,500, but last Monday it's estimated that as many as 3,000 people made their way to the Buttes for this week's cavalcade. In relative terms, this is the equivalent of an impossible 150,000 audience for Jersey's Battle of Flowers.
It hurts to know another's lips will kiss you and hold you just the way I used to do.
The 5 Guernsey finalists have been selected, and they go aboard La Duchesse de Normandy for the short trip across the water to Jersey and the finals at the Channel Ball. The 5 girls to get through to the finals in Jersey were 16-year-old Sabrina Grantham, Mrs. Nadia Ann Kilby, Mrs. Sally Davidson, Mrs. Sheila King, and 18-year-old Miss Ann Eakin.
7, 8. 2. Keep your arms up and hold your arms. And arms out and swing over. 7. And hold one arm up and pull both ways.
So lots to look forward to then, and as with all our Channel 50 programmes, we want you to share your memories with us. So head to Channel Television's Facebook page or to Twitter using the hashtag Channel 50. Now let's get on with the countdown, and at number 5 in the entertainment vote we head to Sark. Mervyn Peake loved the island so much that he based his novel Mr Pie there. Decades later it was turned into a TV miniseries and filmed entirely in the island. Starring Derek Jacobi and nearly the whole population of Sark, at number 5, it's Mr Pie.
Mr Pie, scene 868, take 1.
There was a fine gent who come to Sark. His name was Mr Pie.
Oh, Mr Pie, oh, Mr Pie, oh, oh, Mr Pie, oh, Mr Pie, oh.
He was a fine gent indeed, he was. That you can't deny.
Oh, Mr.
Peake lived here. He was a colourful figure with long black hair, a cloak and an earring. He befriended many Sarkees, and one woman still has the portrait he drew for her.
Well, I thought he was a superman. He was a gentleman. He's very, very much liked by all the islanders, I should say. He fitted in very well. He's mixed with everybody, and he was a friend to everybody. He really was super.
Illustrations were very popular. He did very well and was quite renowned, but his writing, pretty limited audience, you know, readership.
There's no more unlikely place for film fever to strike than on the tiny Channel Island of Sark. But in a place which has missed out on most of the excitement of the 20th century, horse-drawn carriages rattle around with a new purpose. Sark has made it into the movies. If in the book Mr. Pye's arrival caused uproar in the island, the actual arrival of the film crew also caused something of a stir in this close-knit community. Every available hotel bed was taken over while the production team did their best to forget they were cut off from the outside world and come up with the equipment and facilities they required.
The whole feel of the place was so special, so extraordinary. And the sound of the people and the look of the faces. And it just seemed ridiculous to try and recreate something which you knew you couldn't ever, really recreate on the mainland. It had to be in Sark.
The story of Mr. Pye can be interpreted on two levels, as nothing more than whimsy, or, as was intended, a serious depiction of the battle between good and evil.
I'm not here to preach to you. I have nothing to sell. All I have is something to give.
It seemed the enthusiasm of the Sarkees in their newly adopted role of film extras was boundless. 100 extras woke up in the small hours to be costumed, made up and on site at 4 a.m. Weeks of preparation had gone into this, the most dangerous scene of the production. A horse and carriage travelling at speed across La Coupe, a narrow causeway little more than a knife edge 260 feet above the rocks and sea below. The stuntman was to take the steep slope at a canter. He'd spent weeks training one of Sark's carriage horses for the job.
Mr. Pye and the stunning backdrop of Sark at number 5 on our entertainment countdown. Next on this Channel 50 special programme, it's a musical performance you voted as a real favourite from the past half century. They're a Jersey country and western band who, at the height of their local fame, took over the Channel television studios, which were clad in straw especially for the occasion. At number 4, get toe tapping, it's the Barnstormers.
I'm stuck in Folsom Prison and time keeps dragging on. I hear the train rolling.
You're celebrating 50 years, and this is my 50th year on stage. So we're both celebrating 50 years together.
Mama told me, son, always be a good boy. Don't ever play with guns. I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die.
It's the only form of dance where young children can dance with their parents and grandparents. It's a great mixer. We did 3 days' work actually. We laid down about 75 numbers, and we were doing what we preferred to do, which was pure country music, as opposed to barn dance music.
I bet there's rich folk eating in some fancy dining car. They're probably drinking coffee, they're smoking big cigars. Well, I know I had it coming.
On the first session, you put loads of bales of hay in, and it was a fabulous set. And we had to finish sharp at 5 o'clock because all the bales of hay had to be removed because you were doing the news at 5:30, and you couldn't really do it with bales of hay all around the place.
I guess I'd move it on a little farther down the line, far from Folsom Prison.
Channel television made basically the Barnstormers, yes. So it's all thanks to you.
And I'd let the lonesome whistle all my blues away.
little bit of hoedown on our countdown with the Barnstormers at number 4. And if that performance has brought back a memory from the past 50 years of Channel Television, share it with us on our Facebook page or on Twitter with the hashtag Channel50. We're looking back at some classic entertainment moments, and at the halfway point, we're overcome with lycra and bling. The local rounds of the UK disco dancing competitions were a big hit across the islands in the 1980s. Club dancers would represent their venue in the heats, all compared by Channel Television's Gordon de Saint-Croix. Disco dancing is at number 3.
Well, as you can see, it's a tremendous audience here at the Interest Bar, and these 3 lovely young ladies are just some of them.
Luckily, I wasn't doing the dancing, but we were doing the filming, and yeah, those were the heats for the national dance section was held in the various discos around the island, and we were filming all these weird characters. And when you look back at it now and see some of the outfits, it was funny, but at the time that was the fashion, and we just had great fun making those sorts of programs.
Starting with from Blooper's Disco in Jersey, Jimmy McMahon.
So, 22-year-old Jimmy McMahon from Glasgow is first on. He's a regular at Blimpers in Jersey and is bidding to go one better than last year when he was runner-up in the Channel final. Yes, it's Samantha Hughes from Rockefeller's Disco at the Savoy Hotel in Guernsey, and she's 19 years old. Last year she entered the competition but failed to make the final. Sir Dance-A-Lot, or Paul Davis, is 23, and he reached this final by way of the Skyline Disco at the Lido de France in Jersey.
We were probably naive in those days. You know, we used to go out and think that we could do these things, and we did make some big productions for the size of the company we were, you know. And it was just a lot of fun, a lot of fun.
Disco. Her speciality is acrobatics, and her hobbies are pretty energetic too, as they include swimming and squash.
Young islanders from all walks of life gathered at Jersey's Skyline Disco last month to see the Channel Islands' final eliminator for the UK and World Freestyle Dancing Championships. Gordon de Saint-Croix was host for the evening, and he was to introduce the dancers to the celebrity judges and to a very enthusiastic audience. Whilst the spectators got ready, so did the contestants. I spoke to some of them, starting with Millie Hawkins. Was she nervous?
Petrified.
Why are you frightened? You dance here regularly?
I've never been in for anything like this before. It's my first big thing.
Number 6 is Millie Hawkins.
Back in the day when disco dancing was the only cool sport in town, and coming in at number 3 on our entertainment countdown. This is Channel 50, celebrating half a century of Channel Television. And next up is a venue which stood the test of time for the best part of half a century as one of Jersey's major entertainment venues. Anyone who was anyone wanted to be seen there. Couples courted there. Indeed, you may have even met your other half there. Susie Quattro, Slade and Leo Sayer all took to the stage. Even the Queen popped in on one visit. It was later known as Beans and Inn on the Park, but originally it was West Park Pavilion. At number 2, you voted for the Pav.
The Pavilion first opened its doors to the public in July 1931, and what was at one time just a dream for a handful of local businessmen became a reality. Local architect, the late George Blooper, was called in to design the building. The result, a romantic adaptation of Dutch South African style. There are few people who haven't been to the Pav at some time or another, and they generally start young. For many of these children, this is their first taste of the Pav, but like countless children before them, they will remember the occasion as a happy one. In fact, almost anyone you speak to who has been to the Pav usually recalls with deep nostalgia the times spent there. It's true, the Pav soon became the place to go and was looked upon as a kind of institution.
It was different nights for different people. Some people came along just because we sold the cheapest booze on the island, and they came to enjoy a jolly good drink. Other people came because they were hoping to find affection, and I think it's fair to say an awful lot of people, some of my closest friends now, actually met their wives or husbands on the dance floor there.
From the very beginning, the Pav was the place to go dancing, and the island's young and old alike have tripped the like fantastic on the ballroom's well-sprung floor.
We did keep the sprung dance floor, but we chocked it up for the disco, and when we had proper ballroom, then we took the chocks out and we let the thing bounce up and down.
And such was the reputation of the Pav that at one time it was dinner jackets only. But as the words of that modern folk song tell us, the times, they are a-changing, and over the past 10 years, there has been a slow but steady decline in the popularity of ballroom dancing. And so the teenagers moved in, discarding their shoes, partners separating. The ballroom became a clearing place in the jungle. We had reached the real age of primitive dancing. For many people in Jersey, the Pavilion has been part of their way of life.
Everybody that was in the charts at the time came to Jersey to play for us, and so we had really the who's who of artists on the stage.
Sean Connery, better known as James Bond, is just one of the big names that have appeared at the Pavilion. Jack Warner, Anne Shelton, Frankie Vaughan, Petula Clark, Anna Neagle, Sterling Moss, Anthony Steele, Tom Jones, Rolf Harris. The list is endless.
West Park Pavilion was always regarded as the centre of the social life of the island, and it's very disappointing, to say the least, that we've almost reached the parting of the ways.
Toward the end of its life, it became sad, and I suspect that maybe the bulldozers put it out of its misery.
The Pav, voted in at number 2 by you on our special entertainment countdown. This is Channel 50, and you can share your memories on the Channel Television Facebook page and on Twitter with the hashtag Channel 50. Now the time has come to reveal just what you voted as your favourite slice of entertainment from the past half century. And for it, we head to Alderney, where for 1 week each year the population swells, the fun goes into overdrive, and the island's reputation for holding a good old party proves to be as true as ever. From the man-powered flight to the grand cavalcade, and now in its 64th year. Top of the poll on your entertainment countdown, it is of course Alderney Week.
Alderney's population barely exceeds 1,500, but last Monday it's estimated that as many as 3,000 people made their way to the Buttes for this week's cavalcade. And if the staff of the Harbour Lights behaved like this behind the bar and around the dining room, eyebrows would certainly be raised. I hope that the residents of Alderney won't be hurt if it's noted that the bulk of the advertising floats represented either establishments selling alcoholic refreshments or the beverages themselves. The whole concept of Alderney Week is one that some Jersey people would like their Battle of Flowers to become. A week of carnival with a procession of floats through the town.
Hereby declare Alderney Week open!
Everyone told me before I went just how much fun it would be. Everyone gets involved, everyone has some kind of party trick that comes out. They do magic shows, they sing, they dance. It was so much fun. We found out halfway through the week that anyone could enter the man-powered flight, and one of our cameramen, Dan Wickham, has a bit of a love of fancy dress. I ended up wearing a pair of his trousers, which were waterproof. I ended up wearing a bin bag for a top. I had a white patch for my chest. I had wings, and I had a head with a beak. And as I jumped, the wings came off. One of the divers was wearing the head in the end. It was just so much fun.
If you think this is as mad as it gets in Alderney Week, you're wrong. So wrong.
that, my friends, is it. Our entertainment countdown ends with one big party, as it should. Alderney Week is your #1. Thank you very much if you were one of the thousands who cast your vote. We've got one more programme to go in our special Channel 50 series, celebrating half a century of channel television at the heart of island life. But the final show is one some of our presenters and reporters would rather you didn't see. And that's because, for the first time ever, our secret blooper tape is getting an airing. You really don't want to miss it. Here's a taste of what's to come. Goodbye.
Stand by studio, 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
Don't be afraid to come right at me. Splendid.
The discovery of BSE, bovine spongiform encephalopathy, in Guernsey. Encephalopathy. Encephalopathy.
It's just so strange when you start licking my bottom, I can tell you.
The Endeavour sailed into St Helier Harbour this afternoon.
And what does it mean to you holding the Alderney flag at this time?
I don't hold the bloody Alderney flag.
Call into the Elizabeth Arden counter.
Oh, nearly. Halfway.
Yeah, roll it in. Okay.
I missed that one.
We hope we've given you a taste of the best of what the West Show has to offer this year. Oh!
Hey! It's mostly ended on this. And then you whisk.
Right.
What's that monster?
This is the young gentleman from, both these young gentlemen from Channel Television.
What's that monster thing?
That's not a monster, that's a camera.
That's a camera, is it?
And I have been a very good girl this year. Really. Honestly.
I'd like to change all that.